Y'all didn't tell me I had my mic muted. What up? What up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Modi J. This is the Mo You Know, and today is history. Today, we officially passed the threshold of the longest government shutdown in U.S. history, and it makes 36 days since I got a check. 36 days since I knew where my next meal was coming from. 36 days since I went to sleep knowing that I could pay my rent the next day. 36 days I've cried. I've cried and cried myself to sleep. 36 days I haven't left the house. 36 days I'm bullshitting with y'all. It is 36 days. I haven't been paid in 36 days. Well, I did get one check. October 2nd, I did get a check, but it was only like $500. So I haven't been paid in technically 34 days, but it's been 36 days since the government shutdown. Today makes it the longest government shutdown in American history, surpassing the 35 days in 2018, 2019, which was also up under Donald Trump. Last night we had some elections going on, and when I tell you it was a blue wave, they went and knocked everybody out. The governor of Virginia, we got Abigail. She beat out Lose Some. I made a video about her probably like 2 weeks ago, calling her a dummy, which she was. She's out of here. The governor of New Jersey, we got us another Democrat, another woman, Mikey. She went ahead and won. We got the new mayor of New York. Yeah, another Democrat. He won and he was in the club. You know what I mean? California, yay. They didn't voted on Proposition 50. They about to gerrymander out there and collect those 5 extra seats. So it was a nice little day. And Fox News and Newsmax and all those bots that you see online and all of those coons you seen that represent MAGA, they're crying and crying. Talking about rip New York City. Now, New York City is about to be better than it's ever been. If it's rip New York City, then you're meaning to tell me right now that New York City is the best place on earth, and it sure the hell isn't. It sure the hell isn't. We got Mayor Eric Adams in New York City who was taking money from the Turkish government. Yeah, that was taking bribes. So you mean to tell me RIP to New York City? We had Rudy Giuliani, you know, the guy that lost all his money through the election fraud. Yeah. These are the people that were in New York City. So if you're saying RIP, then it's already in the grave. The only thing we can do is get up out that grave right now. Only thing we can do is get up out that grave. I don't live in New York, but I can tell you one thing. I can tell you one thing. It ain't RIP to New York. Because if you rich in the motherfucker, you about to get taxed. So the regular folk can live. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If you have a corporation, you about to get hit with an extra 2%. You make over $1 million, you're gonna get hit with an extra 2%. Yeah, it's a little bit of reform up there in New York City. It ain't RIP. It's just a little bit of change. Because if it's RIP New York City, then it should already be America is in hell. Because with Donald Trump, the economy is the worst it's ever been since the pandemic. So if we're going to say RIP to New York City, you need to say RIP to America first. Because New York City is doing better than America right now. California is doing better than America right now. Yeah. 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 Mother of Mycroft, for people that don't want kings, you certainly vote for them. These people have shown you who they are. Give me who these people are, mother of Mycroft. They gave everything to illegals that was set aside for the black community. First of all, you're wrong 1000%. Secondly, secondly, if anyone gave anything to illegals over this last 9 months, 10 months, who has been the president? Oh, that's right. Donald Trump has been. So if you're saying that, then you're saying that Donald Trump has given all of this away to the illegals because he hasn't stopped anything that he said he was going to stop. So don't come in here spewing lies because I will correct you at the door. Now, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Now, I'm just this is just off the Mo you know. I'll be on the other channel later on tonight. We're gonna do some stuff with Power, but this one we're just gonna watch some videos, um, just see what the hell's been going on. But they took inner city schools away from black children for immigrants. You're wrong. Federal funding stopped going to New York, which shut down those schools. Who stopped the federal funding for schools? Oh, that's right. The Republican that's in office. Don't come in here spewing lies because the city of New York and the state of New York didn't do that. Is when the funding got cut. Just like if you look at Chicago, they say that they're in a $780 million deficit in the school system. You know why that is? Because the federal funding from the pandemic stopped. It wasn't because the city messed up. So get your facts straight. Don't come over here just talking and saying everything that you didn't seen on Fox News because I will correct you and I will go get the facts to prove everything that I'm talking about. Now, I don't care if you're on the right. I don't care if you're on the left, but we will speak facts. I'm an independent. There's some things I agree with on the right, some things I agree with on the left. But with that being said, with the new mayor, the reason he's taxing the rich is so you can have the money for those schools. You see, everything you're saying, they're trying to fix it. That's what they just read. You see what you're saying right now? Everything that you saying negative, the mayor's trying to fix it. They're trying to fix it right now because it's been fucked up for years. Because we just had crooked ass Mayor Eric Adams in there who just bended the knee to Donald Trump, then got pardoned and got his case thrown out. And now him and Trump ain't even cool because there's a lot of corruption going on at the very top. And it's just only getting exposed. And that's why Fox News and Newsmax have been crying every single day leading up to this election and trying to do the gerrymandering in all of these different states to try to rig the elections to try to win because they know that the people, there's an uprising. They're turning against it. So when you talk about kings, name one king that's been elected in America. None. That's why there was a no kings protest because we don't want kings here. That's the reason why we branched off from England. All right. And we're trying to keep democracy for this republic from going to autocracy where we have a king and one person just ruling everything. So if you're going to come over here and speak facts, please speak the facts. Don't give me your opinion or some shit you heard on TikTok, okay? Because I will go and fact check that and we will clear that all up, okay? Okay? Show me an article. Let me pull up this let me pull up the video that we're going to be watching. Hold on. Is it on this channel? Let's watch history. Your videos. No, 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 no. Where's I just had it pulled up. Oh, I restarted the computer. Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna pull that up. How's everybody doing? We are in the longest shutdown right now. The video that we're gonna watch is on Fox News. This is actually the day before the election, and this is just a panel. So it's a diverse panel. You have Republicans, Democrats, and Independents, but they're just asking them questions. We're gonna watch that. I started it at work. I didn't get to finish it, so I was like, we'll just watch it online. And that's the reason we're really doing this. But again, I don't care who you vote for. Like none of that changes anything. I don't even live in America no more. So the only thing that affects me personally is the shutdown. What up, Trill? They handed out $2,500 monthly checks to illegals, then laughed at you when you asked for reparations. Where the fuck have you seen me ask for reparations? See, mother, you got me confused with them Negroes you talk to online. You ain't heard me or no one in my chat ever ask for reparations. All right. Because if you're going to start categorizing all of us, then you must be one of those Republicans in the food bank line begging for food right now. Get up off your lazy ass and go get a job then. See, I'm going to put you in that category. All right. I don't even know what's wrong with the damn videos. Uh, okay, here we go. Here we go. Oh no, you can keep her in there. I like going back and forth. You know what I mean? They
Meet Gym Monster 2, your all-in-one smart home gym.
is out fact me. That's one thing she can't do. Talking about reparations. Hey, look. Now, if they drop them, you better believe if California go through with it, I got that California ID. I'm gonna make it happen. But if not, then hey, it is what it is. All right, let me see if I can get this damn panel up. All right. Mondami within one New York.
Well, tomorrow is election day and three major races that we've been watching on the Faulkner Focus today. And they could shed light on voters' decisions going forward, particularly for midterm elections. Today marks exactly 1 year until the midterms, and Americans are set to decide whether Republicans will keep control of both congressional chambers. The outcome will have a tremendous effect on the second half of the president's second term. There's no better way to see how voters are feeling. It's my favorite way, actually, than to hear from them directly on our voters' voices. In studio with me now, a panel of Americans whose views span the political spectrum will dig into the issues that matter most to them when they cast their ballots. And right now, the congressional balance of power is razor thin in the Senate. Take a look at.
So of course we won't have the Senate vote anytime soon, but hopefully mother's still in here, so we can just give her the AP fact check. Trump retweets false claim on immigration aid. Trump tweeted, illegals can get up to $3,800 a month under a federal assistance program. Our Social Security checks on average are $1,200. If you agree, if you weren't born in the United States, you should receive zero assistance. The facts, wrong country, wrong numbers, wrong description of legal status and recipients. Besides that, the immigrants who are in the U.S. illegally do not qualify for most federal benefits, even when they're paying taxes. And those with legal status make up a small portion of those who use public benefits. So there you go. It's all a lie that started off with Donald Trump retweeting it. So when you come and present facts, then we can talk. But until then, keep that to yourself or go tell that to your husband, your sons, or your grandma, someone that gives a fuck. Because I speak facts. I don't just make shit up. And if I don't know, I'll go look for it. So what you need to do is do a little bit of research, get off TikTok, get off Fox News, and go get into the nitty gritty and figure it out. Because if not, you'll continue to be one of the low IQ people that Donald Trump wants to support him. Okay? It's how easy it is. You just go and fact check it. And it isn't just one thing here. It isn't just one thing here. The refugee, see, there's a difference between a refugee and an illegal alien. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference between someone that's seeking refuge who has its own program than someone coming over here illegally. Yeah, you didn't know that, did you? And about only 1% of your taxes actually goes to help any illegals. And if we're being honest, you don't even see the taxes that go to the illegals. And even if you wiped out every illegal person, that 1% of tax that goes to help whatever them, and it ain't even 1%, it's actually 1% of 1%, you wouldn't see that money. They're not going to say, you know what, where's Mother at? Mother of McCroft. Where's she at? Let's give her, you're not going to get the money. All right. So just chill because this federal assistance is helping you out. Let's get back into the video.
At your screen, Republicans have the majority with 53 seats. Democrats and 2 independents who caucus with them hold 47. Just a 3-seat margin with 33 of those 100 seats up for grabs in 2026. So you know things are going to change. We just don't know how yet. Let's get an idea today. In the House, the Republican Party has 219 seats right now. Democrats have 213 with 3 spots vacant. All 435 of those seats will be on the ballot next November. And recent polling shows that right now, voters don't see either party very favorably. Well, let's face it, Congress is never really popular, but they're particularly unpopular right now. Democrats are taking the worst of it with only 28% with a positive view, 37% positive for Republicans. All right, let's meet our voters' voices today.
Again, so this is going to be a panel of 8. Republican, Democrat, and Independents. It's a pretty good debate. You know, I mean, I won't even really call it a debate. She's just going to ask some questions. People are responding to it. It's not really an open panel, but it's still pretty good to hear just people's perspectives on what's going on. Again, this was one day before the election. So on the 3rd, the 4th was the election. Then we had the blue wave come in, and here we are today.
Republicans, Maria, Jason, and Dwayne, a former New York City Assembly candidate. Our Democrats, Amanda, Jay, and Dan, and Independents, Dove and Mary Joseph. Great to see you both. I want to start with those independents, actually. Mary Josephine, I'm going to start with you. I know that you vote, you say, according to the issues that are most important. So for the midterms, give me what's most important to you.
The economy. I just feel like we haven't had any reprieve from the inflation. We don't have like the taxes are just out of control. I really feel that, Americans need breathing room, and we don't have that right now. Interest rates are really high. Housing is unaffordable. It's really, really difficult for, anybody to make it. That's how I feel. I mean, if I feel these pressures as a business person, I can only imagine what the middle class and lower middle class feel like. Obviously, there are people there making money. There are people in the upper echelons that succeed and do well. But I believe for the middle class, it's really, really, really difficult. And I mean, if I'm feeling it, I can only imagine others are too.
It's interesting. And you've been on panels in the past here on Voters' Voices. I welcome you back. As an independent, you can see it kind of different ways, but you're hitting on that affordability situation. And that's something that Republicans are going to have to deal with. They're seeing it in a lot of different places. But the facts are that inflation has come down precipitously. And the problem is that it was at 9% or better for so long under the last president that the prices don't come down. They wait for the economy to reset. And so
But see, what they don't ever explain is up under Joe Biden, there was massive inflation up to about 9%. This is correct. But what they never ever explain is that before Joe Biden got in office, there was this guy. There was a gentleman that was in office that was making America great again. But while he was making America great again, there was a thing called a pandemic that occurred, which started in 2020. Now, we can go down the rabbit hole on a lot of different conspiracy theories along the line of the jab. Well, we can openly say COVID now, but if you remember correctly, America wasn't shut down properly. It was delayed. The first information about COVID actually came out in October of 2019, about a year and a half after the emergency response program was shut down by this gentleman. We're not going to say Donald Trump's name just quite yet. But then everyone has a conspiracy theory about the shutdown. Well, in wearing masks. If I remember correctly, there was a guy that wanted an award for coming up with warp speed, the fastest to ever put a vaccine together, but at the same time, shut down the whole country and make people wear masks. But then wearing masks was a bad thing, and they put it on Joe Biden, who didn't get in office till a whole year later. So when that inflation started to kick in, it was because he started to recover America. So now the inflation is up here. But we were told November 4th, 2024, that on day one, that prices would go down, groceries would go down, life would be more affordable. But here we are exactly 1 year later from November 4th, 2024, and nothing is livable. The prices haven't gone down. Has inflation gone down? Yes. Why did inflation go down? Because there was a Inflation Reduction Act that was implemented by who? Joe Biden. So when Trump tries to take credit for that, no, it's the Inflation Reduction Act that actually did that. So let's get the facts together and let's keep the timeline in chronological order so we understand exactly where we're at. So with the Inflation Reduction Act, it brought the inflation down, like she said. But guess what? Things still aren't affordable. They still aren't livable. Why? Because who came in and put tariffs in there? Who came in and started fucking with shit? See, they never mention that part. They just say the previous administration. But the previous administration was actually hammering down at it. So when you hand the highest economy back over, because you remember, people were starving during the pandemic. The same way that people are at the food banks right now, they did the same shit during the pandemic. And it's crazy that each time Donald Trump is in office when this happens, but they never mention those parts. They just say it was the previous administration who took over a country that was completely shut down from a failure of a president. But they don't mention that part. But I'm here to just keep us level-headed, make sure we're at the same spot. And as Mother said, they continue to vote for the same thing over and over. They were suffering in 2020. They're suffering in 2025. Mother of Maycraft, you are right. You dumb fuckers vote for the same thing and you get the same results. So don't talk that shit in my chat unless you got the facts. And I'm just going to present those to you. Okay? Okay? The same thing you voted for is the same thing you got 5 years later. Oh, 2020. Yeah, Joe Biden didn't take office till 2021. You remember January 6th? The same motherfuckers that Trump pardoned? Yeah, those fucking terrorists. Yeah, those are the fuckers that voted for that, and they voted for this shit again. And here we are 5 years later in the same predicament. This time we don't have to wear a mask. So I guess it don't repeat itself. I guess it's better because we can go outside and breathe fresh air. We just ain't got no money in our pocket. We just ain't got money in our pockets. Let's continue on. So all of this happened up under the last president who actually brought inflation down because the reduction of the Inflation Act. It's going to take a couple of years. It's not going to happen overnight.
2 to 3% that we continue to go up is based on those high prices. And that's what affects affordability. So you got to hit at something that takes away the pricing. Like,
you know what takes away the pricing? Take away the tariffs. You get rid of the tariffs, that drops the price down because it doesn't cost more to import the majority of our goods here in the United States. But guess what? The same fucker that put them tariffs on in 2016 to 2020 is the same fucker that put them in 2025. So you're right. You voted for the same bullshit over and over again.
Like the price of energy, like some of the things that Republicans and this Republican president have said that he's trying to do through the tariffs. So we're watching all of it. But what you feel counts. Dwayne, I want to come to you and just get your idea about where you, because I see you nodding a little bit, but I'm wondering, where do you really want for the midterms the power to go?
So I would like the GOP to stay in power because I think we need to start having tough conversations about spending even more. I think when we look at the DOGE cuts, I think there's even more space within the federal government to downscale, because what we're seeing now, some of this in the small business area, taxes are insane. With inflation, that means the government's taking in more money, and where is it going? I also think that the GOP needs to give us a reason to be inspired. Let's talk about infrastructure. Let's talk about education. Things that really show the public that we're moving forward. We need bullet trains. We need to show the country that we can be modern and we can lead again. And I feel like right now our public discourse doesn't really reflect what we need to mobilize and feel together as a country.
All right. Now, let's get this coon fact checked real quick. Let's get this goofy motherfucker fact checked real quick. He said he wants the GOP, right? He wants them to stay in the power because of Doge, right? We had Doge cuts. Remember, he just said, I want to keep the GOP in power because the Doge cuts and all the money that they say. Well, despite Trump's promised cuts, U.S. spent more than $200 billion more in the first 100 days than last year. So they didn't cut anything. First of all, we can go and Doge check all that shit because all the numbers were off. We already did a video on how they were including $8 billion from contracts that were already cut up under Joe Biden. They already exposed that they were using multiple things and counting them up 2 or 3 times. But despite Trump's promised cuts, the U.S. has spent more than $200 billion. This is just in April. Mind you, $2 trillion have been added to the debt in the first 10 months of Donald Trump being in office. Now, you want to talk about education. He said we need to spend more on education. The Trump administration's recent special education layoffs will have major long-term impacts on disabled children and students. Also, we know that Donald Trump President Trump to eliminate the Department of Education and send education back to the states. So wait a minute, my brother. You're saying you want the GOP to focus in on education and to cut spending. Well, they're not cutting spending and they're cutting education. So there go 2 things that you want that they're not doing.
Today we take a very historic action that was 45 years in the making. In a few moments, I will sign an executive order to begin eliminating the Federal Department of Education once and for all. The United States spends more money on education by far than any other country, but yet we rank near the bottom of the list in terms of success.
We both believe very much.
This is who you wanted? Linda McMahon, Vince McMahon's wife, the WWE motherfucker. You know Vince McMahon wilding out. We ain't heard from Vince since he was taking that pussy. Yeah, we ain't heard from Vince since then. Yeah, he been in hiding. And now we got his uneducated wife up here running the Department of Education, which they're cutting. So this brother doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Then he wants to talk about infrastructure. Well, guess what? The Biden infrastructure bill refers to the Infrastructure Investment in Jobs Act, a bipartisan law signed by Biden November 2021. Within his first 10 months, he signed a $1.2 trillion spending in infrastructure projects. He wants to focus on infrastructure. Okay. You wanted infrastructure? Well, guess what?
Up all across America, President Donald J. Trump building America's infrastructure. The problem? These infrastructure projects are being built and funded by Biden's infrastructure bill. If you remember, Trump could never get that done. And in fact, told Republicans they would be, quote, losers if they approved Biden's bill and, quote, patriots would not forget. Well, as it turns out, he's trying to get Americans to forget that it was Biden that successfully passed the bill. According to the New York Times, they are actually replacing signs in front of these projects that accurately reflect that it was paid for by Biden's bill with signs such like this one. For more on this and other topics, catch me on the Midas Touch YouTube channel.
Education, cutting money, infrastructure, all three things that he's asking for so far. Guess what? Trump ain't doing it. It's been done by someone else. It's been done by someone else. So Donald Trump has no infrastructure bill. Who had it? Oh, that's right. Joe Biden did. Watch this. He said he also wanted bullet trains. He feels like we're behind. Joe Biden's CHIP Act. The CHIP and Science Act is a piece of legislation signed into law by President Joe Biden August 2022 that aims to boost domestic semiconductor manufacturing, reduce reliance on foreign countries, primarily Taiwan, because we know that China has an issue with Taiwan. So TSMC, they invested in 3 plants in Arizona. The U.S. competitiveness in technology and science, it includes a $52 billion funding in semiconductor incentives, a new 25% tax credit for chip manufacturing, and nearly $170 billion for research and development. Watch this. President Trump has repeatedly and publicly called for Congress to get rid of the Chips and Science Act. So everything these fuckers want, Joe Biden did it. Guess who came in and wanted to tear all of it up? I'm going to give you 3 seconds to guess Donald Trump. If it takes you longer than 3 seconds to guess Donald Trump, I'm going to give you 5 seconds to guess Donald Trump. Oh, that's right. So everything this fool is asking for has already been put in place. Why is everything unaffordable now? Because somebody by the name of Donald Trump came in and just started making slashes to every single thing. The more you know. Let's continue on. So all 4 things he wanted, budget cuts, it didn't happen. They spent more money. Education, they ain't spending more money on it. They cut it. Infrastructure, they ain't spending more money on it. They trying to get rid of it. But since they need infrastructure, he slapped his name on it. So he didn't come up with it. They wanted infrastructure and they wanted science and they wanted technology. Well, guess what? We were building semiconductor power plants here in America, in Arizona. 3 plants were going to be built by TSMC. Guess what? Donald Trump wanted to cut the whole thing. Again, I'm just here to give you the facts. You can do what you want with that information. You can go and lie to people and say this nigga with dreads, he just be talking shit online. But all I can do is give you the facts. Whatever you do with that, you go do that shit. But you're not gonna come over here and talk to me like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. You're not gonna come and talk to me like I don't sit around and just read this shit all day. All right. You're not gonna come over here and try to talk to me about some shit that I read up on and you just listen to TikTok videos on. All right. You're not gonna do that. You forgot during the pandemic when I was getting my master's degree. That's all I was doing was listening to this shit and researching this shit because I was doing research papers on it because I got an MBA, a 4.0. Motherfucker, I really did this shit. All right. You forgot that my bachelor's is in international trade. Yeah, I really did this shit. You know what I mean? I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Oh, I live in Germany right now. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. But hey, I'm just a silly nigga online. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button.
I want to go to Amanda, a Democrat among us today. Talk to me about what you're hearing from an independent and a Republican now. Do you see any common ground?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, the issues are always the same, right? I think what's really important and standing out for me right now is if we can take ourselves like a high level, like not say immigration, not say economy, not say all the hot talking points, and just ask ourselves, how are we treating our neighbors? Like, how are we treating one another? And is it okay that yesterday, on Saturday, 42 million of our neighbors no longer can feed themselves? Is it okay that our neighbors are getting taken off the streets by ICE? Is it okay that gender-affirming care is being taken from young people who really need it to survive? Is it okay that the Supreme Court has now justified racial profiling? That's not how I want to treat my neighbor. So I want to like take away the hot button labels.
What's up, Tamika?
And just kind of ask ourselves, how are we treating our neighbors and how will our policies and those who we vote affect that? Can we vote for people who will treat our neighbors the way that we want to be treated? That's my question. And for me right now, that's the Democratic Party.
A show of hands, how many of you certainly see right now, and I saw it in the state of New Jersey, one of our biggest feeding programs, Table to Table, and that state is under pressure. And the timing is such that you've got a gubernatorial race going on. And I'm hearing, and I was at a town hall recently with Sean Hannity last week, I'm asking about the issues of feeding people.
Right.
And that's what it's going to take, too. It can't just be covering these races for all their numbers.
Right. And so how do we justify that with a president who used feeding people as a bargaining point to get his...
Is that what happened, though, Maria?
So I think we can all agree that the United States has always been a melting pot, and we want it to remain as so. But with immigration and feeding people, that still comes into question because we all worked very hard. And coming from an immigrant family, my family had to do everything the correct way. However, I do think that it dials down to the process in which we're bringing people in. The border becomes a very hot topic with that, right? One end sees it as we want to keep people out. The other side wants to see it as we want to vet people and guide them to the right process. However, that process also sometimes does take such a long time in this country to become a citizen or to get your paperwork that's what circumvents our borders and forces people kind of to go the wrong way.
Me personally, I'm just gonna be real with you. As long as you're not committing no crimes, I personally don't care where you came from. I'm just gonna be real. I don't care about none of that. I know some people I went to school with, their parents may have or may not been legal. But whenever I went over there, they may not been able to speak English. They were still cool. They still cooked. I still got to eat, hang out. So I personally don't care. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, who cares where you come from? Like, what? Yeah, we don't want criminals to come over. Yeah, no one wants criminals to come over. But if they just working, they still paying taxes. Who cares? I personally don't care, man. When I go to the store, I'm not looking around like, damn, are they illegal? I lived in Arizona. I lived in Phoenix. So I was around Mexicans all day. I never once thought, are they legal or illegal? They in the store buying shit just like I'm buying shit. It was a lot of them, but it's just be close to Mexico. You know what I mean? These are just Hispanic areas. I don't care. Like, yeah, the process takes long. My cousin's wife is Japanese. My brother's wife is Colombian. My nephew's wife is Mexican. I don't care where they came from. That's who they with. Like, I had this guy, Sergio, renting one of my houses. Sergio did a good job. He was a handyman. So I didn't charge him rent the first year. I let Sergio live there. But whatever I needed fixed in the house, I got him to put down a new tile in my kitchen. He did the wood floors. He took the carpet up, sanded down the wood floors. He did all of that. He repainted the whole basement. Yeah, for the first year, it was like, all right, boom, I'm gonna get the supplies and stuff. You take care of everything. So I let him live there. And then the second year, yeah, I had to charge him that rent. But I don't care where they came from. As long as they ain't committing no crimes, hey man, have at it. This is America. Hell, the motherfuckers that came over here and made this the United States of America, they were illegal immigrants. Hell, if you go and look at the Constitution, there's at least 5 people that were not U.S. born that put their John Hancock on the Constitution. So our own Constitution has illegal aliens on our Constitution. And that's a fact. Eight of the 39 men who signed the U.S. Constitution were not born in the American colonies. These 8 included 4 from Ireland, 2 from England, 1 from Scotland, and 1 from Wales. Pierce Butler, Thomas Fitzsimmons, James McHenry, William Patterson, William Durr, Robert Morris, James Wilson, Francis Lewis. Our Constitution has 8 illegal aliens with their signature on it. So who are we to tell anyone that comes over here illegally that they can't be here when we got niggas that signed the Constitution that ain't from here, that were not born in the original 13 colonies? You know the 13 colonies. You remember the 13 colonies. They weren't born there. George Washington was, but these 8 weren't. They were from England, Scotland, in Wales, in Ireland. So if we got 8 people, the founding fathers, that ain't even from this country, which none of the founding fathers are from this country. All them motherfuckers, they came over here illegally. But that's just where we are. You know what I mean? And I knew that. They don't teach you that in school. They made you believe that everyone signed the Constitution was from America. No, they weren't. 8 of them weren't. 8 of them were just over here kicking it. 8 of them came over and they never left. They didn't get no passport. They didn't fill out no paperwork. They just lived here, had kids, and because they try to say, oh, the Constitution says birthright citizenship is only for the slaves that were born here. So that means anyone else that came over here, if your lineage goes back and they ain't connected to slaves, that means you're illegal, right? Because that birthright citizenship, they say it's only for slaves that had kids that were born here. So that means any white person that's over here is illegal. That's just what the Constitution says. That's my interpretation of it. But hey, who am I?
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. I want to get back to my question because you kind of brought me back to it.
Yeah.
You mentioned neighbors. If there are illegals living among us, how many of you think that an illegal alien who came across our border and broke our first law, our sovereignty as a country, how do you see them as a neighbor? Are they?
Well, I'm illegal here, right?
Hold on,
this
we're just
land
doing
isn't mine.
Hold on. A show of hands. How many of you see that individual as a pure neighbor?
I know.
That's the majority. That's 5-3. So how do we cross this divide? How do we get there, Dove?
Honestly, I think it's hard. The rise of the partisan politics has really jeopardized what I view as one of the great features of American democracy, which is being able to work across the aisle. And I'm really looking for candidates who are able to do that, moderates, centrists, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, who are really able to work together in order to address issues like that. And in terms of your question on immigrants, I think a person is a person, regardless of what their legal status is, and their legal status can change. And I don't know or really care what their legal status is personally. I think if they're a person, they're my neighbor, and I'm going to treat them that way.
I think that there's a difference between being kind, and to me, my faith is one thing is being nice to people from different lands, but they also have to be respectful of our laws. And
If that, first of all, he said my faith. Nowhere in the Bible does it talk about getting legal documentation. Jesus was an immigrant. So whenever people start bringing up faith, Jesus was an immigrant. When Jesus crossed the Red Sea, he illegally entered into another country. Well, not Jesus, that was Moses. But when Moses crossed the Red Sea, he illegally entered into another country. So you can't say my faith and then talk about the laws, because these laws weren't built around your faith. Your faith was here before these laws were ever even thought of. But that's when I really hate when, that's why they try to separate state from church, because you can't, it's a lot, man.
Everybody wants to come to the United States because we have a great economy, have a lot of opportunity, but there's a process to do that. My family has been here since at least the 1700s. There's no one that's gave us a free $1,400.
And how did your ancestors get here, my brother? Did they get here legally, or were they illegally taken from Africa and brought to America? How did your people get here, my brother, since the 1700s? They didn't come over here on a boat, first class, second class, or third class. No, they came up under a ship, illegally taken away from Africa. So your faith isn't your faith, because you just said your family came over here and worked for everything, but your family came over here illegally. So you can't say your faith is based on the laws, or the laws is based on your faith, because your family came over here illegally. They were illegally taken away from Africa and illegally brought to America. So when you hear people talk like that, you gotta be like, hey, come on, man, let's be logical here. I understand, I get it. You're a quote unquote Christian man. But if you're a Christian man, then it's not on you to judge anybody for what they do. You just have to let them do what they do. You do what you do, and whoop-de-doo.
Debit card. No one gave us a free apartment. No one gave us anything free. We had to work for it. So there is a process. And if we respect all people, that means that the people that come here need to respect our laws. And that's all that we're saying. We allowed 20 million immigrants in here legally since 2000. How much is too much, and how much are we going to put the burden on the taxpayers? Because the money has to come from somewhere. Yeah. It's just common sense.
So, Maria, I see.
And this is what I was talking about earlier. I don't know why this brother's getting to me. I guess it makes it worse knowing that it's a brother talking like this. I can understand this goofy right next to him with the red tie. But come on, man. What do you mean, how much is enough? When is it? First of all, we got one of the biggest countries in the world. Secondly, we only got 320. There's more than enough places for people to live here in America. You may not want to live there, but if push comes to shove, you can live there. So for them to say when is enough, when the president and vice president are both married to fucking immigrants. How can people, the president is married to, I don't even know where the fuck Melania is from, Russia, Ukraine, some shit like that. Send her ass back. She's an immigrant. Fucking JD Vance's wife, she's what, Indian? Send her ass back. I don't get how I don't know, man. It's just weird to me. For them to not like immigrants and they want to put a halt to it. Like, I don't know, man. And to hear this brother talk like this, you gotta look at him like, man, shut the fuck up.
You're nodding. Jason.
Of course. Well, when it comes to illegal immigration, and we were talking about the shutdown previously, we have to point out that when we're talking about the bargaining chip, I don't think we can blame the president for that. I actually think we have to blame the Democrats for that. And this shutdown has not been popular, okay? This has been the Schumer shutdown. And they're playing politics with people's lives.
Yes.
And it's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing. And none of us would defend that.
Dan.
In all that Schumer shutdown, dog, they don't have the power, man. They don't have the power. And he said, let's not blame the president. Well, let's see what the president has to say about that.
Is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the President of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together. If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the President of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together. If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the President of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together.
So that's 2011.
If there is a shutdown, I think it would be
100 years from now, when the government is, when they talk about the government shutdown, they're going to be talking about the President of the United States. Who was the president at that time? They're not going to be talking who the head of the House was, the head of the Senate.
You have to get everybody in a room. You have to be a leader. The president has to lead. He's got to get Mr. Boehner and everybody else in a room, and they have to make a deal. And unfortunately, he's never been a deal maker. That wasn't his expertise before he went into politics. And it's obviously not his expertise now. But the fact is that the president in 20 years from now and in 100 years from now, when you talk about the Obama administration, they're not going to be talking about Boehner. They're not going to be talking about Reid. They're not going to be talking about any of these people. They're going to be talking about Obama. And in terms of legacy, I think it's very important for him to make a deal. I mean, you just have a president that is not leading and not getting people into a room. You have to get people in a room and you have to just make deals for the good of the country. The government shut down. They're blaming the president, folks. They're blaming the president.
I guess we gotta blame the president. Right? Right? Am I right? Am I right? We gotta blame the president, right? Government shutdown becomes the longest in history. How we got here and what's next. 5 of the longest U.S. government shutdowns since 1977. We just reached 36 days and counting. We'll probably get about, I'm saying roughly 50 days, 55 days. I'm thinking maybe a week before Thanksgiving. Then the last one was 35 days, which was also Donald J. Now, in 2011, there was a potential shutdown that was on the horizon, but it didn't happen. It didn't take place till 2013, which was only half the time that we've been on these last two with Donald Trump. So we do have to blame the president because he wasn't the president at the time. He wasn't even the president-elect, but the gentleman said we needed to blame the president. So this is another one of those, this is what I heard. We got to blame Schumer. How can the majority shut this down? If you got the majority, you got to negotiate. When you got the money, if I go to the store and something costs $10 and I won't say the store, if I go to the damn yard sale and something costs $10 and I got $8 and my homie got the other $2 that I need, I got to negotiate. All right, look, this is what we do. Or say he got 4, I got 10. It costs 10. I got 8. My homeboy got 4. I gotta be like, hey, look, you let me get 2, so we can go ahead and get this. I get it. I'm gonna take it Wednesday to Sunday. You get Monday and Tuesday with it. You gotta negotiate. You got the most money. You need the extra money. They don't need it. I'm good without. I can't afford it by myself anyway. Obviously, you can't either. So no, it's the majority that has to do the negotiating. So to blame it on Schumer, or think this is Schumer shutdown, but doesn't have anything to back it besides what Donald Trump said. Coming in here with a goddamn United States lapel on you, man, get out of here. Can I get over? Well, my job, we don't take overtime. I take comp days instead of the overtime. The overtime they're gonna tax you, and I might only get overtime maybe once or twice a week. So it really ain't worth, getting taxed on that 2-3 extra hours. They're gonna take a lot of that anyway. But we will get back paid. I just don't know when. You know what I mean? Next week could be the second full check that we lost. And then I don't know. I'm looking at like the week before Thanksgiving at least. I think by then, because open enrollment starts on like the 10th. So people are already starting to see their premium skyrocket. So I think in like a week or two, people are going to really start to realize, because I'm going to show you guys a video also. But people are starting to realize that, wait a minute, this ain't on nobody but the president. As they're talking about, he's holding the SNAP benefits as a bargaining piece, but they supposed to be paying it out. They said at least half.
I think it should really be referred to as the Republicant Party, because all they talk about is what they can't do. They can't reopen the government. They can't find a way to feed poor people.
Wait a minute. You do understand that they gave a House passed, and you know one of the hardest places on the planet to get something passed is in the House, because there are so many more members, and many of them have races at different times, and I mean, it can get complicated there. They passed a continuing resolution, much like the Democrats have done. And Republicans have voted to support those resolutions north of a dozen times, with Chuck Schumer at the helm of Democrats. But that's not what the Democrats are willing to do this time around.
But Republicans really, they control all three branches of government. They own the shutdown. There's no question about it. And as far as immigration goes, I have a friend who is in the process of legally becoming a U.S. citizen. He has filed the right paperwork. He has gone to all the appointments. He's done everything he has to do. He is so terrified of being picked up and thrown in detention by ICE that he is basically just going back to Brazil. That is not where we should be. And this plays into the affordability crisis. This city and all cities and all parts of the American economy run on the kinds of typically cheaper labor that immigrants provide to us. The prices of everything go up when the labor prices go up. And we are removing a really important part of the pathway to becoming part of this country when we terrify communities of immigrants. We shouldn't be doing it.
Which is another thing. I haven't seen one MAGA go out in those fields and start picking the damn fruit and vegetables. I thought these jobs were about to open up, get rid of the illegals, and then white folk gonna go out there. I thought MAGA was gonna get out in those fields on their hands and knees and get us the food that we needed. But all I'm hearing is farmers asking for money, farmers asking for their soybeans to get sent off to China. All I'm hearing is we don't have any workers. No one ever. We got to stop getting mad at each other. Why are we getting mad at the illegal immigrants? Like, what is the reason to get mad at the illegal immigrants? Shouldn't we get mad at the companies that hire them? Shouldn't we get mad at the billionaires that are using the cheap labor? Why are we getting mad at them for making a living that makes our living easier? Illegal immigrants, they're doing the jobs we're not going to do. So if they're going out there and working for $25 a day, I appreciate that, because I'm not going to do it. You're not going to do it. And we know MAGA sure the hell ain't going to do it, because all they want is handouts. All we hear from the farmers who voted 73% for Donald Trump is, oh man, the tariffs are killing us. Shut the fuck up. Lose your farms. Go cry about it. But why are we mad at the illegal immigrants that were doing everything that we needed? The cheap labor. Why are we mad at them for doing the jobs that make our lives easier? I don't hear no one talk about, yeah, man, this weekend, just a little side gig. I'm about to go out there. They got some strawberries out there. They want to be picked. I might go on out there with my MAGA hat. Go ahead and do my thing. You know what I mean? We can't get mad at the illegals for trying to get a job. First of all, there's been 1 million jobs lost this year. All these jobs lost, and they assume that it's just lazy black people, but it's a majority of white folk. But all these jobs lost, we don't see any of them taking any of these jobs that are opening up. That field work, that hospitality, all that needs to be filled. Where's MAGA at? We need MAGA to, right now, what we need to do is come together and start the MAGA coalition and guide these white folk and these niggas that wear these MAGA hats to the fields and say, These jobs are open. Take these jobs. Help America. Make America great again. Go out there. Take your kids out there. Turn some music on and get to it. We need y'all out there 15 hours a day. I need fresh apples. I need fresh strawberries. We can't import bananas and stuff from Brazil because they got 50% on them. So we need MAGA to go and make America great and get in the fields. We need y'all to go to the well, ain't nobody getting hotels because we can't afford hotels right now. But we need y'all to go get in the fields. We need y'all to go start building those houses. We need y'all to start doing everything that the illegals that y'all hate so much were doing. We need y'all to go start sitting in front of Home Depot. We need y'all to hop in the back of the truck, come to my crib, and you better have my shit together by the end of the day, too. Have my damn bathroom retiled. Put my new tub in there. Where's MAGA at when you need them? I got $100 for you to work all day. Come do my kitchen. Go cut my backyard. I got $50 for you. $50 for 10 hours worth of work. I got that for you. Where is MAGA at when we need them the most? Let's not get mad at the illegals. Let's get the legal MAGAs and put them out there because the majority of Americans are white. So let's get them out there. The majority of America unemployed is white. So let's get all of these MAGA supporters and put them out there to make America great because that's what we want, right? We want America to be what it once used to be. Where's MAGA at? Where is MAGA at? Where? That's what we want. Is that asking too much? Is that asking too much? They can't be asking too much, can it? They can't be asking too much.
Interesting about this gathering today. We have really, really diverse thought on this panel today. We're blessed with that. We've got some independence. We don't know which way you guys are going to go on which issue. But I want to make sure that we're sticking with the facts here. This is in Democrats' hands. And we don't have the ability.
See, there she goes. This is no, it's not in Democrats' hands. Democrats are the minority. It's on the majority to figure this out.
To have the facts driven by our freedoms. I mean, by our feelings, forgive me, by our feelings. And so if Democrats step in and give this, they still have a little bit of time before that original document even runs out. I mean, you think people are hurting now. Let it go till Christmas. Like, it's time for them to step up. And if you want to see them be those adults in the room, maybe they could choose now.
But if they step up, then we lose health care. And that's a death
You're not going to lose health care. Health care was going up on its own.
For millions of people, we will.
So first and foremost, I do not think that that is a genuine argument, simply because their argument is that they want to pass a clean budget reconciliation bill. The last time that happened was in 2012. That's not a real thing that happens. This is a body that's designed for compromise. As someone who worked on the Hill, we have to be communicating. You don't just get to say, I passed this bill and we're going to go into recess and never come back.
Let me ask you
because
this.
we want to fight this argument.
So Democrats now have done what you said, okay? And they came to the table, they said, look, we want to talk about health care. And one of the sticking points in there are the millions of dollars that we know go to those illegal aliens. And look, Dan, you bring up that some of them are here and they're waiting for their paperwork. Well, how long have they been here? And that's what the government, but let me ask you. So if that's part of the mix and you know you've got Republicans to agree to get to that issue right away, why not open the government now and get the foot off the necks of people who are hungry?
See, that's disingenuous there. Because if you open the government now and you don't address the health care that's about to skyrocket, you think the Republicans are really going to be like, well, you know what? It's December. You remember back in November when we opened up the government, we said the Republicans are not going to revisit that. That's what the Democrats are holding firm for, is nothing else. The courts just told Donald Trump to release the damn SNAP funds. So the funds can be funded for this whole month of November, but he's talking about we're not going to release it. But then Caroline Leavitt talking about they're going to release half of it. It's going to take some time. No, there's a contingency fund to release the SNAP benefits. So the Democrats are perfectly fine with what they're doing because the health care is going to be the most expensive thing. You release the SNAP benefits to them. And if you really cared about America, then you would release that until you resolve whatever's going on with the shutdown anyway. But he doesn't care about the Americans. That's why he's holding SNAP. That's why he's trying to hold funding from different cities and states just because they're blue. But if they open up the government, these damn premiums skyrocket, then everyone's going to really be hurting because it's not like it's food. All right, food you can scale back. Maybe you can't get the turkey for Thanksgiving. You got to get like turkey sandwiches. Yeah, it's unfortunate you don't get the turkey you want, but you still can eat. But if you take the medical benefits from them that skyrocket, that's something you have no control over, especially if you have a family that has health issues. If you need to get your pharmacies, you know what I'm saying? Any like the Medicare, you're going to need that regardless. It's not like we can turn like this month, I'm going to cut back on my health care. Instead of paying the whole $500 this month, I only needed about $300 worth. You can't do that. With food, you can scale back. Yeah, you don't want to. But if you do, you can make do. But they're not going to open this up. So you can screw them over. And then in the end of the year, January rolls around, people are paying $14,000. Some states are going to be paying $21,000 extra a year on healthcare. Who the fuck can afford $21,000 extra dollars? No one just has that laying around. That's going to be their whole check. And that's where like a family of two, I think it was a family of two in New Jersey making $85,000. Their increase would be about $13,500 a year if these Affordable Care Act tax credits were to default. Now, we could go into how dumb MAGA is because they don't like Obamacare, but Obamacare is actually the Affordable Care Act. It's just Obama's name because he was the one that came up with it. So it's the same thing. So they'll say, well, we'd rather have Affordable Care Act than Obama because Obama. And like it's the same thing. But so we know for a fact that the majority of people on Obamacare, the majority of people on SNAP are actually Republicans. So they're the ones that need this. But instead, they think cheering on these billionaires who really don't give a damn about them is the way to go. Now, for her to get on here and keep saying, well, I mean, this is Fox News, and that's why I wanted to take Fox News so we could just see how they are. The onus is on the Democrats. No. Democrats are trying to help everyone. Are the Democrats 100 for people? The people? No. Neither party is. That's politics. What have they done for black people? Well, right now they're doing for all people with your health care. Whether you're black, you're white, you're brown, you're green, you're yellow, purple, it don't matter. Everyone needs health care. So no, they're not going to open it up. So you guys won't talk about it. And then it'll be a whole year. Then we're really going to be in a depression. It's healthcare should be free. It should be free. I mean, there's ways of funding it. I mean, we already, not saying I have a solution for it, but it can be funded. It could definitely be funded. But of course, you got $40 billion going to Argentina, plus another 45 or I think it's like 50 billion going to just ICE. Why are we deporting? Why do we have that much money going to deport people? We wasted money on deporting people. Most of the people ain't even getting deported because it's illegal for you to just deport them without them having due process. So the courts are blocking it anyway, and then we got to send them to court. It's just all stupid, man. This is all stupid.
$42 million of them. Can you defend starving people out? And by the way, it'll take at least until Wednesday for the president to fund after they go through protocols.
Today's Wednesday. It could have been done by now.
72 more hours? Go ahead, defend that.
Okay, so first of all, the Affordable Care Act specifically does not provide funding to people who are not here and legally here for citizenship. It specifically says that in the actual law.
And you don't think that that's happening?
Okay.
And so the anecdotal
So wait. So if that's the case,
confirmations
then, right,
of that don't count.
if that's the case, right, then that's where the DOJ is supposed to bring charges against whoever is doing that. Now, on top of that, using this, because the government could, the president could have allocated funds to continue SNAP. There was money that has been put aside for this that he did.
Well, that's what he's
in
talking
his
about right
first-
now.
he
And the
did that in
earliest
his
that I
very,
understand
very
it can be
first,
paid is Wednesday.
He could
administration.
have already done it. He deleted it from the website.
One point that I think is very
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
I want to get another voice.
So I just want to say, first of all, when we talk about healthcare, the subsidies were not originally a part of Obamacare. These are COVID era subsidies that they put in place that were temporary. The Democrats made sure that it expired at this time. This was not the Republicans. Second of all, if you want to negotiate on those subsidies, you shouldn't be holding the U.S. citizens hostage. It's just that simple. It's wrong when Republicans do it. It's wrong when Democrats do it. And the fact that the Democrats have voted over 13 times to not open up the government, if they care about food, we shouldn't be talking about emergency funds. We should be having an open government. And I think that no member of Congress should be getting
Then bring
paid
the House
during
back in.
Y'all know this brother? Ain't this the guy that said they wanted government cuts? So the government's cutting money right now. The government's not open. So which is it? Do you want them to continue to cut funds, or do you want them to open up the government? You can't have it both ways. You told us, your intro was you wanted to cut funds, fund education, get infrastructure, and get technology. So wait, do you want to cut funds, or do you want to spend funds? Which is it? Which is it? Because we remember what you said earlier, because we went and fact checked everything and you were wrong about all four. So now, which is it? Is it you want to open it up and give the people SNAP? Because your faith says people got to follow the law. But if you're agreeing with her who's saying that illegals are taking some of the money. So which is it? You want to give illegals money? You don't want to give illegals money. You want to cut funding? You want to spend fund? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? See, this is a typical coon right here. A nigga that don't know what he's talking about. We remember what you said. And it ain't even been 10 minutes. And you didn't already change up. Now we need to open it up because we got to treat the people right. But when we were talking about the immigrants, it was your faith said that they breaking the law. But when she's talking about illegals getting the benefits, you want to go ahead and give them the benefits. So which is it? Which is it? He doesn't know. He's confused. He's confused. And it's so sad to see people like this. Specifically, black people, because, those are my people. But it's so sad to see people like this because you're just contradicting yourself. Everything you say, we remember what you said. And now you're saying you got a whole different tune. Now it's, let's look out for the people. But in the beginning, it was fuck the people because you wanted to cut the funding, which a government shutdown is cutting funding. Because what did Donald Trump say? He wanted to fire people during the shutdown, but he couldn't because the court said that was illegal. So which is it? You for funding, you against funding. You for illegals, you against illegals. Which is it? You don't know. You're confused, man. Dwayne.
To session.
But it's already in the Senate. The Senate.
It's already in the Senate.
The Senate. You don't get to say that the House bill automatically passes. Sometimes
it's a clean CR that the Biden
does
era.
not-
It's not a clean CR. That's why we're here now. Is not a CR is a continued resolution. It was basically like, all right, let's continue on. If you remember how we got here, there's been a CR from the moment that Donald Trump has got in office, because the Republicans last year, they tend to forget this. The Republicans didn't want to pass anything until Donald Trump got in office. So this has rolled over since October, November of 2024. If you remember, they kept pushing it back. They pushed it back to February. They pushed it back to April, then July. Then we got here to when the budget actually relapsed to go into a damn government shutdown because it wasn't a clean CR. They passed it that one time just to keep funding going because it would have been over a year, which would have halted stuff during the middle of the summer at the peak. So when he says this, talking about it's a clean CR, it wasn't a clean CR. A couple of Democrats hopped over, but those Democrats aren't going over there anymore because they know that the tax credits are about to expire. But see, that's why I'm here to keep you in that chronological order, because just go look back. I think it was January there was one. They pushed it to February. February got pushed to April, and then there was one in July, which took us to them signing it, which brought us here to the budget in October, which gave us the shutdown. So it wasn't a clean CR. It was just to help the funding, because we didn't believe that America would be in the position that it is right now, where the economy is about to collapse. But this brother don't know what he's talking about. I don't either. So I had to research it, because if I don't know, I'm going to go find out.
Spending levels, Biden levels,
does
spending
not
levels.
happen.
I have to tell our
It's the
audience
party of
that
can't.
this
We
is
can't do
what.
this.
No,
We can't do that.
we got your label. This is what it looks like times a million on the Hill right now, and so the two sides are divided. And all I would say is, while all of you may not agree, keep talking, please. I mean, whether you do it here, you do it at your homes, you do it out, you do it over dinner, wherever you do it, just keep talking, because you could be the model for us getting there. And I'm always going to spit what I know is either anecdotally true or factually true. I'm always going to spit that. You guys come back. I love it. I love the conversation. God bless you all.
Thank you.
Here we go with the facts. In February 2025, the U.S. government pushed for a full year continuing resolution to fund government operations through September 30th to avoid the shutdown. The stopgap expired March 14th. The previous CR was set to expire March 14th, creating an immediate need for new funding bill. So the funding from 2024 for this 2025 year didn't get pushed through till early 2025, because it continued to get pushed and pushed. Why? Because all of this started because the Republicans were waiting to see if Trump would get into office so they could start to implement Project 2025 that Donald Trump said he knew nothing about. And now Stephen Miller is in charge of the operations budget management. So the shutdown is on the Republicans, because they the ones that kept pushing this back and back and back for us to get where we were, and we needed the funding because the stopgap was inspired. Speaker Mike Johnson and other leaders spoke about the provisions of the timeline, with negotiations focusing on resolving the differences. Why did the Republicans, who had the House and the Senate and the presidency, all three branches, why did they negotiate back in March to get this thing passed? Because they were the majority, the same way they're the majority now. And that's why they were so upset with the elections and how there was a blue wave, because they're starting to realize next year, this time next year, they're going to lose complete power of the House and the Senate. Impeachments are going to start coming down. There's going to be a lot of change. And it might be enough change that they'll have the 60 vote without ever having to damn negotiate with the Republicans. So that's why Fox News and everybody was so damn sad about what happened last night. That takes us here.
A big loss. You can say that these states were traditionally blue, but you can also say that heading in, there was some thought that, especially in New Jersey, that Ciattarelli would do better. The spreads here are surprising. Maybe not the results, but the spreads. And if you look inside the numbers, there are some dangerous things. One, young women overwhelmingly in New Jersey and Virginia supported the Democrat based on economy, on immigration, maybe those ICE images. The affordability push by Mamdani really sticks. And that's basically inflation and how people feel about the economy. So this dichotomy between how Wall Street's doing and how big businesses do.
Hey, thank you, Miss Jaylyn. Thank you for the 25. We're going to be eating this weekend. I'm getting some wings for sure.
Doing and how you feel about it at home is something Republicans really have to look at closely. But look at this spread in Virginia. It's massive.
Do you think that the young people, especially in the Mamdani race, which is fascinating to me, do you think that they were just, that they liked his solutions that he was putting forward, or he was the only one who was actually talking about it?
They turned out in droves. Young people
they did.
I mean, in big numbers. 18 to 39 came out for Mamdani big. I think Cuomo started to close at the end because he was saying, here's the fearful things, here are the things you have to be worried about. But he was such a bad candidate at the beginning, it seemed like it was too late.
What about the two things? What about the Hispanic vote? And what about the Hispanic vote as well as the female vote going to Democrats without abortion really being front and center? For the longest time, people thought, well, that was the reason. Well, Republicans are vulnerable because the pro-life movement, perhaps women were rallying against that. But that wasn't an issue.
No, it really seems like it's economy. It really seems like it's how they feel, grocery shopping, and how affordability. There is some other, there's a Trump factor here. He is right to say he was not on the ballot, and when he's not, it doesn't produce the same emotion, but it does produce emotion on the other side.
And yeah, the Republicans, they're kind of losing it right now. Good times, good times. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I just seen that video earlier and I'm like, let's look at that and let's do a little bit of fact checking on it. I'm trying to find it. There's a video, it's like a compilation. Let me see if I can find it. They all been in here crying. What's the dude name on Fox News? Jesse Waters. No, I can't find it, man. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But yeah, I just wanted to go over that video and show you guys a little bit what's going on. Oh, I also, what time is it? 6. In about 30 minutes, I do have a new series that I got called What If? What If I Told You? And it's basically going over different type of how can I say, events. The first episode is Toys R Us and how Toys R Us basically went bankrupt and Amazon took them over. So that'll be the first one, but it also, I'm going to do one weekly starting off. This one is Amazon, about a business. Then I'm going to do some crimes. What if I told you about this crime or this and this happened? But that's the new series I want to do. I want to do one video a week. So check that out in about 30 minutes. That's going to drop on here. We will be on my other channel because Power does have an event on Reddit. So I'm going to be covering that. That's 4:30. So that'll be 11:30 my time. I'll have that and I'll be back on here. But check out my Toys R Us handed the keys to his own funeral to Amazon. That'll be airing in about 30 minutes on this channel. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm Mo.J. Again, I have no political ties. I'm not on the left. I'm not on the right. I'm independent. But I do fact check things. And if I don't know or if I'm wrong, drop me a link. I'm never ashamed to say that I'm wrong about something. But if I know for sure I did my research on it and I can provide the facts, I'm definitely going to bring you the facts because that's all we can do is just go off of the truth. It's dealing with people's money. 36 days I ain't been paid. Just put it like that. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm Mo.J. This is the Mo You Know. I'm going to try to get back on here weekly. I know Power comes out this weekend, so I would definitely be busy on my main channel. But thank y'all for tuning in. And I'm about to get on out of here.
If we go to prison for the rest of our life, whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. We go to prison.